kind of phasing into this or transitioning into this, what did the Prophet ﷺ tell Aisha radiallahu anha she should say if she knows that it's Lailatul-Qadr? What is the dua that we should make? This is as practical as it gets. We all should memorize it. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are afu. What's your best translation? The pardoner? I know it's a terrible translation, but you're the one who loves to forgive, loves to overlook. You come up with a translation, so let me know. Figure it out towards the end, inshallah. But you love to pardon, you love to forgive, you love to overlook. So forgive me and pardon me and overlook my faults. Now, the reason why this is so significant is because this is showing us what? That we should have, more than anything else in the last 10 nights, we should have husn al-dhan in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should assume well of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ana 'inda dhanni 'abdi bi, and what my servant expects of me. So the best thing that you could do in the last 10 nights, first and foremost, just to set up that entire discussion, is make sure that you're thinking well of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make sure that you go into those 10 nights thinking, I will catch Lailatul-Qadr inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive me, because Allah is a forgiving and a merciful God, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves to forgive. Make sure you go in there optimistic. Don't go in there pessimistic like, well, I've got this and I've got this going on and that going on, and I might not catch it and I don't know how this is going to work out. That's the first thing. Number two, as far as, what are the ibadat to do in Laylatul Qadr? The ulama, what they tell us, the scholars tell us, is that this is the month of Quran. And what we see from the Prophet ﷺ is that the Prophet ﷺ reduced the number of rak'ahs and he increased the length of the recitation. So more than anything else, qira'atul Qur'an, reciting the Qur'an, if you can, bitadabbur wa tafakkur, with contemplation and reflection, recite in your nafilah, recite in your voluntary prayers. Try as much as you can to force yourself to lengthen your rak'ahs a little bit more in the last 10 nights. Number three, what do? People started on different nights. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fully capable, His mercy is fully capable of encompassing people that started on different days. However, I'll share with you all something very interesting that struck me. A few years ago, I was doing a class. This was of the first 10 days of the Hijjah, and we were then talking about Ashura and the Prophet ﷺ fasting Ashura and fasting Arafah. The Prophet ﷺ used to fast Ashura, right? The 10th of what month? I just want to make sure you guys are still here. Muharram, right? And the Prophet ﷺ said, if I live another year, I will fast with it the 9th, right? Tasu'a, the 9th. Now obviously the main reason that the Prophet ﷺ gave was to be different from the Jews in Medina, to have our own unique, to add a day of fasting. But you know what Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says in his sharh of that hadith in Sahih Muslim, his explanation, he says that the Prophet ﷺ maybe wanted to add that day as well, khashyata naqs al-hilal, because maybe the month would have started at a different time, out of fear of the hilal not being correct. Meaning what? If the Prophet ﷺ did that for Ashura, what about the last 10 nights? So what does that tell you? Really, especially when it comes to these months or these times where we're not really sure when we started, every single one of the last 10 nights means so much. Each and every single one of them. I don't care if your masjid thinks it's odd, or your masjid thinks it's even. Every single night is an odd night of the last 10 nights. Treat it that way, so that every single one of those last 10 nights, you're doing ibadah, you're up, you're worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're taking advantage of it. And the Prophet ﷺ, he would do i'tikaf for all the last 10 nights, right? He wouldn't, even though he said look for it when? In the odd nights. But the Prophet ﷺ, did he just, would he, come out of i'tikaf on the even nights? No, he stayed for all 10 nights, alayhi salatu wassalam. And even, subhanAllah, in the last year, Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu says the Prophet ﷺ was sick, so he missed i'tikaf one year. He did the last 20 nights of Ramadan in i'tikaf. The last 20 days and nights. So what does that show you? What is our traditional Ramadan slump? The Prophet ﷺ was already in i'tikaf. Right? SubhanAllah, it shows you how he treated the whole month, alayhi salatu wasalam, how the entire month was sacred to the Prophet ﷺ. Now, let's get to the discussion of dua. Now, as far as the signs, look, every single day, I'm telling you, here's what's going to happen. Every single day, someone's going to post a picture of the sun, say, last night was Lailatul-Qadr. Right? And you're going to go, man, I missed it. So you're not going to have the same energy and enthusiasm for the rest of the nights. Don't even bother yourself with that. When the Prophet ﷺ gave the signs, and we don't have time to go through them, of Lailatul-Qadr, he gave it to a people that wouldn't relax, that wouldn't rest if they saw all of the signs. They would still act every single night as if that was Lailatul-Qadr, right?
The first one is just, about the best ibadat in Lailatul-Qadr. What Allah says, Inna anzalnahu fi Lailatul-Qadr, everybody here is familiar with the ayah. It's the first ayah of Surah Al-Qadr. What's remarkable about that ayah is that Allah did not say, Inna anzalna al-Qur'ana fi Lailatul-Qadr. He said, Inna anzalnahu fi Lailatul-Qadr, which translates roughly into, no doubt about it, we in fact were the ones that sent it down. What is it referring to? The Quran, logically, actually, as a principle of language, you don't use a pronoun unless everybody knows what you're talking about. You don't use it unless if you're starting a new conversation, it doesn't make sense to use a pronoun. If you're reading a storybook, you don't begin, he started walking towards blah blah blah. You have to say the farmer started walking. Somebody, you have to mention them by name. Then second, third time you mention them as a pronoun. The first ayah of the surah refers to the Quran in pronoun form. This is called Damir al-Sha'n also. There's other names for it also. The point I brought up, for the purpose of which I brought that up, is Allah is revealing this ayah to people who, when they hear it, they know exactly what Allah is talking about. They know exactly what Allah is talking about. You know why that's important? When people say, what should I do in this night? You should know exactly what you should do. The ishara is already there. It was sent down in Lailatul-Qadr. What else are you going to do? Recite this word. This is the inauguration of the revelation of the Quran. What better exercise? The entire sky was locked down. Jinns had to hang out on the earth for a change. They couldn't go anywhere else. Even the ayah in Surah Al-Ahqaf, وَإِذْ صَرَفْنَا إِلَيْكَ نَفَرًا مِنَ الْجِنِّ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقُرْآنِ. Later on in the ayah, لَيْسَ بِمُعْجِزٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ. There's no mention of sama, because they couldn't go to the sama. It was shut down. لَيْسَ بِمُعْجِزٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَيْسَ مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاء لَيْسَ لَهُ مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاء. Subhanallah.